And is Marshawn going to play this week?
He'll be listed as questionable.
So at this point, is it kind of his decision on how he's feeling in regards to whether he plays, or is that still like?
Look, it's all about can he go out and perform and play at an acceptable level that he's capable of playing at, where he can help us win, and that's a lot of that is, where is he at, from a physical standpoint, and where is he at from a mental standpoint. So I think it's a combination of both.
Maybe you're kind of asked back around that 5 or 6 week mark about why you didn't put him on IR, but are you surprised that it's been so long, or that it's been 10 weeks and it's still kind of up there?
I don't know if surprise is the right word. I mean, I think we were all hopeful that we'd have him back out here sooner rather than later. But it's where we're at right now, and we're going to keep trying to push and get him ready to go. And he's continuing to push to get himself ready. So, look, I think it's easy for a lot of people to question, but yet, like it's easy when it's not your body that you're questioning whether a guy's ready to go or not. You know what I mean? And so I don't think I ever questioned that with a player.
Have you seen Erik McCoy work back this week and what he's looked like so far in practice?
Yeah, I think he's worked back in pretty nicely, and I think we're hopeful that he'll be ready to go this week.
How much would that disability at center help going against the Falcons at home this week?
Well, look, number one, I think if he's able to go, then we'll have our starting offensive line back out there probably for the first time in a while. So I think that's look. I think it's been the history here that this team is kind of gone as the offensive line is gone, and so getting a full group out there I think would be beneficial to us.
Can you speak to just the challenges of having to rotate so many guys in on the offensive line? How challenging that is for an offense to find consistency in a game when you have that?
Yeah, well, look, specifically at that position, because all 5 of those guys have to work closely together and make sure they're all on the same page, and so having that continuity with guys that are used to working together, I think, is important. And so, hopefully that'll be the case this weekend.
What are some of the things you guys liked about, just bringing him in and what you're looking for?
Yeah, look, he's a guy that in college we had a high opinion of, and I think he's a guy that's athletic. He's got a speed element to his game. I think he's a really good space player. And look, for a guy that's not exceptionally big, I think he runs tough. So, he's a guy that we wanted to get in here and obviously get a look at and see what we might have in him.
What questions did you need answered about the fact that he was kind of unceremoniously released from 2 teams in a month with, some comments on the way out that, things weren't working out with him?
Yeah, look, I can't speak to all the comments, but yet our research, would say that this is a good guy that's going to come in and work and prepare and do all the things that he has to do to get himself ready to play. So, and that was what we got coming out of college and some of the other places that he'd been. So, we felt comfortable with bringing him in. And obviously we get a chance to now get him in the building and see for ourselves what we have.
Then earlier this week, you were kind of talking about just how thin the margins are in the NFL between winning and losing. Does that make, like when you look back at some of these games with a play here, play there, does that make it sting a little bit more? Or do you think about how close this team could be to being?
Well, look, I think it's discouraging and encouraging both at the same time.
Right.
It's discouraging because you've given yourself opportunities, and those plays are there for us to make, and we just haven't made enough of them to give ourselves a chance to win these games. And so that's discouraging, but yet the encouraging part is, man, if we can find a way to capitalize on a couple of opportunities, those wins are right there for us. And I think that's what I was saying earlier, in the week. We've given ourselves opportunities in just about every single game that we've played this year. And you have to put yourself in those positions. Now, at some point, we got to get over that hump.
Is getting over the hump just making the plays when they're there to be made, or I guess maybe not even just not making mistakes, or what do you think that is?
Well, yeah, I think, obviously not making mistakes, that's a big part of it. But I think, there's plays that we have opportunities to capitalize on, and we haven't capitalized on enough of those. And in this league, when you have an opportunity, you got to capitalize on it. When you do, then good things happen.
Coach Pete Werner earlier in the week was really confident just about the next 4 games. You can say mindset is to go 4 now. Regardless of the past and NFC South standings and the numbers, what are you most excited about through this 4-game stretch, especially being at home against the division?
Well, yeah, I mean, being at home against a division opponent, I think is always a fun and exciting atmosphere to play in the dome in front of our crowd and against this team, a division rival. And look, I'm confident and excited about our team going forward. And like we were talking about just a second ago, like go out and execute, go out and make the plays, and let's come away with a win.
This is kind of a Friday question, I guess, but there's been some studies showing that there's maybe
This is Friday, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Friday's like the day for like the, just going to throw this out there. There's been some studies like showing that the league shifted more towards like being more run heavy than it has been in the last few years. Do you guys see that at all? And if so, like, why do you think maybe that is?
I don't know that that's necessarily the case. I think there's certain teams that, that's their identity, and that's kind of the direction that they've gone. But yet, you have a team like Tampa that's, I think setting records for passing attempts. So, I think it's kind of a team by team basis.
As you prepare for the Falcons, how much different do you think their offense will look with Ritter getting the start?
Well, I think that remains to be seen. I don't know that schematically we're going to see a ton of difference in what they do, but I think we'll have to be ready to adjust as the game goes on. I mean, obviously, look, I think we're in a better place now in terms of having some sort of, idea of how they're going to try to run their offense than we were back in the first game of the season, without, having any games really to base it on other than the little bit that you saw Mariota play in the preseason. So, we've had an opportunity to see what they did with him in the preseason, and then we've had an opportunity to study a whole season's worth of schematics. So, we'll be ready for whatever they choose to do.
When a team does do some stuff that maybe you aren't expecting, what is the process of adjusting to that on the fly and, getting caught up?
Yeah, it's getting over on the sideline. It's looking at the tablets. It's seeing what the plays were and what was different, and then it's okay based on the game plan, based on how we play and our adjustments. What tweaks can we make? You're not going to go into a game and then all of a sudden they do something a little bit different. You throw the whole game plan out and put a new game plan in, because if you could just do it that way, then why would you even practice? So, but it's little adjustments and little tweaks throughout the game, and that's no different than any other week, really, to be honest.
Does that happen a lot where teams do things that you've never seen before, or is it usually kind of fall in line with what you're expecting?
I think typically it stays fairly consistent with what they've been. But every now and then they'll give you a new formation, shift, motion, whatever the case may be, and do something a little bit different that you have to adjust to.